Peyton Roshan. I'm from Plainville, Massachusetts, and I ride motocross. Um, I'd say one of the biggest things I was struggling with that brought me to this program, I'd say, was the inconsistency between like my ride days, and it was definitely coming from a mental like standpoint because I was going to the gym a lot and most of my fitness was dialed, but it seemed like some days I would just get like a lot of arm pump or I wouldn't be focused and kind of I guess what wouldn't be really hitting the flow state. And a big thing that I've been taking apart from Jay's rack program was mindfulness and kind of have setting almost like low expectations to the day was really helping, especially when it came to like practice and stuff. Because when you set like the low expectations, it kind of takes uh a lot of your own internal pressure off, and it lets you just be able to like ride and focus on riding instead of all this like little stuff. So it almost sounds like counterintuitive because you would think with low expectations sometimes that could lead to like low performance. And that's not to say you shouldn't have goals, because I think having goals and really high expectations are two different things, because I think expectations should be more of a linear factor that kind of gets built up with your own work in progress, which is something else I've kind of learned from the program. And basically what that means is like, if you're putting in the work in the gym and you're putting in the work riding, well, when it comes to race time, you shouldn't really have the expectations because you kind of know where you slot up, right? So when you have an idea, that it just lets you be kind of free and just ride and not worry about it, because you have some people, and this is something I used to do all the time with like the expectations, is you basically suck all the fun out of it, which would then take a lot of your focus out of it, and then it would just be a spiraling factor for sure. There's honestly so much stuff I've taken away. It almost reminds me of like a college class with the amount of notes I have sometimes. Like I got to go through and kind of like keep reminding myself. But I think a good part of the reason and why I'm still in the program today is because mental stuff is like, it's kind of like gym work. Like you're not gonna be the world's strongest man in 2 weeks, and that goes the same for like mental stuff. Even though like you learn and take it away, you have to practice the stuff every day because you're kind of changing to an extent like your personality and some of the own like belief systems that you have, and it takes a little bit to rewrite it, and you always got to keep on working on it and finding new ways to hone your craft and fine tune what works for you. So yeah, I'm sure there's definitely even more stuff that I'm probably missing somewhere down the line, but there's too much invaluable information to take away. I'd say like a big thing it's definitely helped me with is school, because I've been trying to get into that radiology program, and in reality it's kind of a high stress situation because I don't know, I'm in a group where it's like 150 to 200 people, and for the program they accept 15 to 20. So that's basically the definition of being a high performer, right? You're in the top percentage to try and get in this program. It's all based on grades and little things. And usually when it came to school, like I've never really had to try anyway, so it's been fine, but I would always stress myself out about getting like grades and doing all this stuff. And what I've been doing instead is just putting in the work and studying and kind of just being confident doing the best I can do, and knowing that that's kind of going to take me to a better place than just putting all the stress on myself. And when you put all the stress on yourself and you let that add up in like normal situations, which is something that I took away from riding, well, you get into a almost like a state of fear where you don't do anything at all. And I think I forget the exact phrase that you taught, but I think it's react instead of respond. So, or is it respond instead of react? I think it's that way. Yeah, you want to respond instead of react to the situation, because when you're all stressed out, usually your brain's first thing to do is to just react to it. So if you take a second to respond to the situation, make a game plan, you can usually get your way out of it. And at the moment, I basically almost have a 4.0, and if I keep it up, I should be able to get into the program. So it's definitely helped in a ton of ways so far. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. That's the results speak for themselves. And then I mean, I know you're editing it, so I can just keep going on a random segue here. But another big part that I used to struggle with riding was crashing. I know some people say if you're not crashing, you're not trying. I think that's not totally true to an extent. I feel like a perfect example would be someone like Austin Forkner, right? You know, he definitely tries and he crashes all the time, and it's not good. And a lot of his problems are probably up here when it comes to overriding. And that's something I used to do all the time. And this whole year, I know for a fact I was getting faster based on lap times. I dropped at least 5 to 10 seconds this whole year, give or take, on most of the tracks. And I, for the most part through the year, really didn't crash because I was kind of focusing on just flowing and doing my own thing. So even though I was getting faster and smoother, I wasn't making the same silly mistakes and having, stupid crashes here or there, which kind of kept me a lot safer and let me end up training longer and getting faster in the long run. So that was cool. Right now that my mental game's been more dialed this year, it was the 1 year where I've been kind of getting dicked around by my shoulder, which I find funny. So I think it'll be cool once, everything's finally all squared away with this thing and I don't have to worry about that. And then I have everything dialed in both spots. I'll be enjoying it. And I think it'll be cool too, because at that point, come next year, assuming I get into the program, which one thing I've been doing is saying I will to myself instead of, if, to kind of, I feel like that's what's been giving me like the confidence in the class is like in my head, I've been like envisioning myself already being in it. So it's like you're painting the picture. So when I'm in class and I'm with all these other people that, obviously some of them aren't going to be there anymore, I'm pretty confident, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's always cool to do something that you're kind of uncomfortable with. Like that was something I honestly feel like if I wasn't in the program, I probably wouldn't have even tried to like get into this program, because the whole stress of and like uncertainty of like, you put all this work into it and then, there's a chance that you're not gonna get into it. I feel like a lot of the expectations and pressure would kind of freeze me into not doing stuff in the past. So I think that's cool that I've kind of, I've been getting over the fear part, which is, one of the huge things you teach. And I think that's what's cool about our sport is there's a lot of mental things that you can learn and use in that are so valuable in life. And like I was saying, with me being hurt, I've almost taken more or used it more in real life than I have in racing this year, just because of like my physical standpoint. And I feel like that itself is almost more invaluable. Like, not to say that like, for some people racing is going to be at the top of your priority, but at the end of the day, if you have, skills that you can take to life on, I think that's going to serve you. You're going to be really ahead of the game compared to, the rest of the 98% or whatever people. There's not a lot of people that are doing this sort of stuff. So it really gives you like that upper edge.